filter one kite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Alright, have a good one. It's all good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live. Yes, we are live. We're here at Canada's in downtown Camelford, and you will probably be hearing the voices in behind me. Let's see. We've got another great show planned for you today, and I'm your host, Al Graham. Today on the program, we have joint host Kim Cooper, who has a guest who is very active in helping patients with access to cannabis medicine. But before we find out more, it's time for Kim and I to have our usual little chat, and today we got some interesting story for you, don't we, Kim?
We most certainly do. Ontario police are in the news once again, this time for their educational resources, and our very own joint host, Mr. Al Graham, is part of a follow-up story on this.
Yes, I am. This always relates back to the York Regional Police went into a Catholic school, high school classroom and talked about cannabis to educate them about legalization, pros and cons, and about driving and things like that. You know, sort of, I don't know, it almost sounds a bit to me like a high school DARE program.
Yeah, exactly.
And during this discussion with the students, the officer says that studies have shown that half a joint, so half a gram, is equivalent to seven alcoholic beverages. You won't be able to walk a straight line, he says. You won't be able to touch your fingers to your nose.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Kim, but I don't know too many people who would have a problem walking a straight line after have a joint.
That's for sure. I mean, this officer went on to, spout a whole bunch of rhetoric and non-factual information to these teenagers from this high school. Going so far as to tell people that smoking cannabis, males would have an increased risk of growing breasts, that it affected your mammary gland in the males, and basically doobies would produce boobies.
That's right. He says in there that they're finding out, this is from personal, some experience of things, or something he's looked up. Anyways, this is personal opinion, okay? And he says that they're finding that 60% of 14-year-olds are developing boobies.
I mean, can you believe that this is coming from our police forces? Now, I've said this earlier on. Over 80 to 90% of the teenagers in this high school guaranteed have experienced cannabis. They're aware of cannabis, the effects of cannabis, and with cannabis education these days so widely available on internet and social media, most of them are aware of what cannabis does and does not do. So that being said, how are any of our local teenagers looking at this police force with any credibility whatsoever if they can stand there and spout this kind of rhetoric?
Oh, it's brutal. Well, as it turns out, once this hit the paper and social media, and this is where I get involved in it, the York Regional Police issued a notice saying that, about this story, about these facts, and that they realize that, males aren't going to be growing female breasts just because they're going to get high a few times. And so forth.
Yeah, they came out on Twitter and they are quoted as saying, we're not no health experts, but we're pretty sure getting high does not cause enhanced mammary growth in men. We are aware of misinformation about cannabis, and that was unfortunately provided to the community by our officers. We are working to address it, they tweeted.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
So when
it's
I
ridiculous.
saw this all online, I thought, well, what? You know, I've been consuming cannabis. I started consuming cannabis over 40 years ago. I've been using it daily for 15 years with a prescription and everything for medical use. So what I did is I took a picture of my chest and I sent it.
Did.
I sent it to there was the York Regional Police, the writer of the article, the newspaper themselves, and I said, "Hey, I've been consuming cannabis for over 40 years and daily for 15. Does it look like I've got booby issues?" Hashtag truth to power, right?
That's right. And that tweet has made it all the way to the follow-up story on YorkRegion.com, which is quoting the officer's police station's rebuttal to the officer's information, and it's got a nice shot of Mr. Al Graham's chest.
Yes, it does. It does. So, as someone said to me, Al, your chest, your boobies are in cyberspace forever.
That's right. You're going down in history as man without increased booby.
Just so you know, I have had some communication with the writer of the article.
Excellent.
And she's talking about there may be another story coming out as well.
Excellent. So I'll be watching out for that coming up in the future.
Oh, yeah. So am I. Yeah, so am I. Who knows? I might be in it again. You never know.
Yeah. Well, once again, the good old Ontario Police Department.
That's right. Yeah. Like that's not right. Yeah. He was listed in the article as a drug recognition expert. In the second article, there's a correction that says he's like a student officer or something for being in the schools.
Yeah, well, I mean, his education has a very long path to go before he should be allowed to any high school, elementary school, or otherwise again.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Okay, Kim, let's get this interview going, and I'll mute my mic. Okay, at this time, I'd like to welcome our very busy guest, the person I described as someone who's busy out there helping the patients with access to cannabis. And I'd like to welcome Jerry Martin to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, that's great. Hey, we really appreciate you coming on and talking to our listeners about everything. Kim just giving me some information. Looks like we got ourselves a real good show going on.
Awesome.
Yeah, and how are your man breasts?
My man breasts are awesome. I do push-ups every day. I can't get them big enough, and I've been smoking cannabis for about 30 years myself. Obviously, I'm going to have to increase my intake from a half ounce to maybe an ounce a day. Maybe that'll help.
Maybe. Maybe you got the wrong strain.
Yeah, that could be it. Maybe there's a nice breast strain out there with high cannabinoids that encourage growth in the men's breast area.
Yes, and should be something I should mention too. Within that second article, it mentions that what he had said earlier had to do that cannabis was also being laced with other drugs. And in the police, in the second or third article there, they come back and they say that they do realize that fentanyl is not laced in cannabis, or cannabis isn't laced with fentanyl.
Right.
So
I've never heard of anything, actually. Yeah, well, I'm glad they said that because I've seen it in articles where that could happen too. But nobody in their right mind is going to spend money on pharmaceuticals to spray it onto cannabis when they can grow cannabis super cheap. And he does his job just fine the way it is.
Absolutely. That is so very, very true. Welcome to the show, Jerry. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to get you on. So much going on in your life in general. I mean, man, oh man, you got your plate full, my friend. I've been doing my research on you a little bit, and you are just all over the place, aren't you?
That I am.
My goodness. Jerry Martin, for those of you out there that perhaps are not aware of who Jerry is, he operates a cannabis dispensary. It's called Martin Medicinal Services. He helps patients get access to cannabis from a legal means. He educates patients on the use of cannabis. He's an MMAR certified grower, being a longtime friend of the cannabis community, and been featured in several magazines, including High Canada as of late. Jerry, you also run a resort retreat that we'll get into later on in the Amazon. I'm so excited about that, to see the reach that you're having, like across the planet into the Amazon, and taking holistic medicine and this way of life to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Very exciting.
Absolutely. Now, the main thing, I guess, that we're going to concentrate a lot on tonight is you're also involved in a court challenge. And this is a constitutional challenge, right?
That's correct.
So tell us a bit about that. What's going on in out there in Saskatchewan, Jerry?
Sure. So I'm actually not running a dispensary anymore. Unfortunately, about a year and a half ago, they came November 7th, I believe it is, or 8th, 2016, after 4 years of operating and donating the majority of those profits back to the sick, the poor, and especially my community. They came in, raided me, took absolutely everything I own, and closed the doors, seized the buildings, and charged me with 7 counts of 4 counts of trafficking over 3 kilograms, and 3 other charges of money laundering, proceeds of crime, those type of things.
Yeah. And what a blow to the community. I mean, you donated to everybody.
Everybody, absolutely. Everybody in that town, it was in that grocery store. Somebody got a $50 gift certificate, sometimes $100. But everybody in that town, nobody had to worry about sports. I built the beer gardens for the Rodeo Association. In fact, I sponsored the saddle and both their buckles last year too. They asked me, library, books, swimming pool, hospital beds. They even helped build the town square. Over $100,000 donated to that community. So it's a really big blow to the community for sure, because we all know that community is never going to see a dime from any medical cannabis or any cannabis, in fact, profits at all. And no small community is going to see any of those profits whatsoever. They're all going to be privately run or government run. And if they're privately run, hopefully they'll pick up the same type of role model situation that I did, and help your community with that money, because cannabis is not just medicine. It's not just something to make money with. It's something that can do a whole lot of good for your society if you use it as the right tool.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I'm going through some of the stuff that you give. Kids camp, summer camps, swimming pools, there's nobody that you didn't touch in that community, I don't think.
No, I wanted to make sure that everybody was touched, whether they used the service or not. In fact, I think it was a bigger importance to reach out to those people and help the community that wasn't using it, because that was the whole point of the dispensary to begin with, was to not just provide reasonable access, therapeutic access by being able to smell and touch your product, but to be able to help the community and spread the word about cannabis and get it out there. Saskatchewan really didn't talk about cannabis whatsoever. In fact, they didn't talk about anything like that. They need drugs. Sex would probably be a big thing for them too. A very conservative place, very old school place. And that's cool and all, but time came where they needed to hear about the medical benefits of cannabis and get those seniors off those pills, get those opiate addicts, off the opiates and onto something much safer.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Al.
That's awful generous, you, Jerry. $100,000 to your community. When you got closed or shut down, raided, did they respond, the community?
Oh yeah, absolutely, very much so. I would say 3/4 of that community was very crushed about what happened. You've got the odd people like the mayor that's denying he ever knew where any of the money came from, covering up donation signs and stuff like that. He just got scared. He should have stood up and said, "Hey, this is awesome for our community," and we'd probably still be there today operating. But he let fear get the better of him and just accused me of buying the community. If I wanted to do that, I could have done it a lot cheaper.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. And look at all good that the money went towards.
Well, that's it. The day that it was in the paper there where I was shut down, and the mayor was complaining about all the vehicles from BC, from Alberta, from all over the place coming to town constantly. And then the article below was the town trying to figure out new ways to get people into town. They just need some better run. They need a new mayor.
I mean, talking about an
for mayor because this arrest happened a week after the re-election, and I didn't go for mayor. I should have went for mayor. 5 people went for mayor, and only 300 people voted. So it was a very close run, So in this few of the candidates were actually had plans for me to go ahead, and they were very impressed with what I was doing. But exactly 1 week after that arrest on the Tuesday, because they have court Wednesdays, they came in and they took everything. So I think that had a bit to do with it. Also, the Health Canada letter as well. But I think that was the final throw there. It doesn't say that in the disclosure, but it just seems a little convenient that the next week after re-election I got arrested. So, and I was there 4 years. So,
wow, amazing, amazing.
It's a perfect example of how cannabis can improve somebody's quality of life without even consuming it.
Well, that's it. It can do a lot of good for a lot of people and take everybody out of poverty if they would just let the average Canadian, any Canadian, participate in this new industry. Because that's what it is, new industry, and all Canadians should have the right to prosper from that. It should not be controlled the way they're doing it with such fear-mongering and intense repercussions for selling cannabis in any form.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's helped so many people. It's proven itself time and time again. The people that say the science isn't in aren't looking for the science because it's there.
Well, it goes back thousands of years.
Yeah, exactly. Thousands and thousands. We're finding mummies these days wrapped in with sacramental cannabis and medicinal cannabis oils with them in today's society. So where are you now as far as the court challenge goes? What stage of the process are you in?
So yeah, it's been a long battle. Lawyers and no lawyer. Then now I've got a new lawyer. So very good lawyer now. You got Paul Lewin. So I think what's going to happen on the 28th here is we're going to put forward our reasoning for a constitutional challenge.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I believe we were supposed to set something for a preliminary inquiry, but I'm not totally sure on exactly. We may just actually skip all that to save a bunch of money. A lot of it's just how many grams of this, how many grams of that. And I made it very clear that I sell cannabis, so that's just a waste of time and money.
Well, it all comes back to... Yeah, it all comes back to Peeling, and I'm looking at your notes here, and the number one issue, the mail order system that is currently in place in Canada via, the LP system that we currently use as a patient, fails the medical cannabis patients in its current form, and thereby necessitates an urgent need for on-demand access to cannabis, as per the original ruling in Peeling, right?
That's correct.
So that's the basis of all of this.
Yeah, so there's eight different points there. I'm not sure if you can see them all down.
Yeah. I've got one, but that's basically number one, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, it doesn't permit people access to the cannabis within urgent need. A lot of these people, well, there's a million different reasons. I don't want to get too much into them because we're going to go through them here. So I'll just let you move on to number 2.
So this is a constitutionality challenge against the ACMPR because they require patients to purchase their cannabis by mail order, right?
That's correct, and it's monopoly, and and they've proven that they're not very good at the business yet. Before they should take over the business and run it, I think they need to learn a bit about it first.
So what could happen if you're successful?
Well, it's going to be have a very big impact on all dispensaries, not just myself. I had the option of going to provincial court or up to the high courts. If I just went to provincial court, it would only affect my case. So I decided to go to the high court. There's a lot more risk for me involved in that. It includes definite federal time and a $600,000 fine, which is about 60 years in Saskatchewan if you don't have the money. 10 years per 100,000, and I don't have the money since they took everything. So it's a much higher risk for me, but the reward is much greater for everybody. This is going to, allow private retailers to have storefronts across Canada too, not just in Saskatchewan. And I also made sure that this included the growers and the product makers that are supplying those dispensaries. They need to be protected as well. Without them, there wouldn't be any dispensaries. They're the ones out there taking risk as well. So.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the outcome of this case affects everyone nationwide.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's the thing that people have to understand. Everybody's saying, well, we've said this time and time again on the show, it's going to take a court challenge. It's going to take a court challenge. Well, you're doing that.
It is, and that's why I got into it from day one. It was for that. I never thought I'd make it a week. It was Whitewood, Saskatchewan. There's only 1,000 people there. Someone's going to know. It was on the front page of the paper.
Yeah.
So I knew I would get arrested one day. It's just a shame that it happened at all. Especially after that amount of time and that amount of proof showing what a good thing it can be for the community.
Right, exactly. So you're finally doing, what everybody's been bitching and complaining about, and we're all doing it in our own way, and you're actually taking it to court, and it's going to Superior Court, and you're doing this at great risk to yourself. You mentioned your lawyer is Paul Lewin, excellent attorney. I worked with Paul at Normal Canada for a while. Great guy.
Past guest on the program.
Yeah, past guest on the show. Absolutely. Friend of the show. Paul Lewin's a fantastic lawyer. I believe Jack Lloyd also tutelaged underneath Paul as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Yeah.
I see one of your.
Great pay.
I see one of your other arguments here about the mail order system is that, and I didn't really even think about this, but LPs have a minimum order.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to make their money. They got stockholders. Plus, there's a shipping charge for that. So, and it's a credit card, and it's just.
I could see the credit card
not
being
fair to the average Canadian.
Yeah, I can see the credit card being a big problem as well.
Oh yeah,
credit card.
Yeah, no, most patients in today's world are on some sort of assistance, whether that be your old age pension plan, a disability plan of some kind from your job or from the government, ODSP, so to speak, if you're in Ontario, whatever the welfare system is in that particular province. Practically everybody is on some sort of assistance. Majority of people on assistance do not have credit cards.
What about homeless people? They're certainly not going to have, even if they do have a credit card, they don't have an address. So.
They don't.
How do you ship
it? I guess with a credit card, some people would. I guess you have those cards that you can buy at the store or whatever. Those temporary.
You can, but a lot of these people, they're in this position for a reason, and a lot of them may have mental health issues or something like that. But they're just not comfortable doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's another step that patients have to take. Even if you are capable, why should I have to? It's another step to fill a prescription. I don't have to do these steps with anything else.
Well, that's it. You can go ahead and get your opiates in 20 minutes, right? Then you're allowed to hop in your cars. Take on off.
Yeah, I mean,
your
no
heroin.
restriction.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all good, right? I mean, the hoops that patients have to jump through are getting to the extreme. Minimum orders. Most LPs, the minimum order is 10 grams for the majority of them. You can also only get your cannabis in 10-gram increments. Some are now offering 5-gram increments, but not many. And then, as you say, you've got the taxes. Plus, now they're talking about adding the excise tax on and your shipping costs plus your wait time. This doesn't fulfill patient need.
Oh, no, not at all. Not even remotely close. And plus, I don't see them handing it out for free at all. Every Wednesday in my dispensary, you can come in and get it for free. You can get a gram every week, and you can pick out your choice. If you wanted the expensive stuff, go ahead. If you want the cheap stuff, go ahead. Whatever you prefer, because it's a medicine, and we wanted to make sure that you were getting what you want, whether you paid for it or not.
Patient-oriented. A man that's reaching out to the community, doing what's right by the community, giving back to the community, and helping patients, doing the educational values, all of that. And they bust you?
That's it. I thought I was setting a prime example for how, a dispensary should be run. And I give a lot of that credit back to where I got my first cannabis license was BC Compassionate Club about over 20 years ago. And I saw there they were doing more than just selling cannabis. They were helping people with chiropractors and things like that at very low rates, $15 an hour. Now, that was an amazing price. Doing other things, they also give away free cannabis. And I thought that was just amazing that it wasn't treated like a drug there, like a street drug. It was really treated like a medicine. And that stuck in my mind for decades until I had the opportunity to do the same thing myself.
Okay, guys, commercial time. I just want to make one comment on the Visa card. Wayne just pointed out to me that if you buy those cards, it costs you money, like an activation fee, $5-6 on the card. So that's even more money it's costing the patient to.
That's correct. Then there's a lower fee, and especially if you're using a card from like Money Mart. They're definitely. I was just in there actually because they took all my bank accounts away and all my credit cards. So I had to cash a check there, and I could see that a $300 loan would cost somebody almost $50 at a rate of 443% interest annually. That's insane. Yeah. And these people are poor.
Yes, exactly. Okay, guys. Break time.
Break time.
I try to line up the music with our guest. Tonight, our guest is fighting with the courts and looking for some justice. So tonight our music is by Les Mosquitoes, and we'll be hearing a song called Justice. And when we return, Kim and I will continue our talk with our guest, Jerry Martin. This is the Pace Radio Show, and we are live at lifestyleradio.ca and .net.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
CTCP now operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Man, have you been to Cannadays yet? Cannadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Cannadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Cannadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Cannadays. Have your say without saying a word. Cannadays.ca.
Hey, welcome back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.ca. Plus, you can also catch us live at Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Shoutcast, 420radio.ca, as well as the Pace Radio Show's website. Tonight on the program, we have our guest, Jerry Martin of Martin's Medical Services, plus the hard-working joint host, Kim Cooper. Well, you two, we were talking about Jerry's case before the break. We can continue that line, or you got a new line?
Yeah, no, we're not done with that yet. I don't think. I don't think we're quite done with that yet. There's so much going on with that. I mean, you've got obviously it's a charter challenge. You've got a fantastic lawyer in Paul Lewin, based out of Toronto. This has got to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, $75,000 for this, plus about $30,000 on the previous lawyer, $6,000 on the middle lawyer. So it's just well over $100,000, plus the amount of stuff they took: my buildings, my cars, my homes, things like that. So yeah, I'm in probably.
You've got to have a fundraiser, right?
It's going to be up to close to $1 million if I lose. So we can't lose.
Yeah, so you've obviously going to have a fundraiser for this. I know there's some social media pages dedicated to it. King of Compassion Charter Challenge fundraiser. You're having an event happening, and you're taking donations on a regular basis. All kinds of stuff going on for this fundraiser. Tell us a little bit about that. How can people get involved, Jerry?
Yeah, so we do have a Facebook page called The King of Compassion versus Health Canada. Health Canada is the complainant on this case. I was one of the 13 issued a letter by Health Canada to cease and desist in 2015. But we do have a GoFundMe page as well, and that's gofundme.com/King of Compassion. You can reach us through either one of those. We do have an upcoming fundraiser being hosted by Karuna Health Foundation at their Meadow Lounge at 3636 West 4th in Vancouver. That's going to be on March 10th, beginning about 7 p.m. There's quite a bit of interest in people coming. So if they're going to come, just to let them know there's going to be a $10 donation to get in the door, but there's going to be a 50-50 draw to win half of that back as well. So.
Yeah, just to let our listeners know, when all of this took place, you were based in Saskatchewan. All of this did take place in Saskatchewan. That's where Martin Medicinals was based. Since the raid occurred and you got shut down, you have since relocated and are currently residing in BC, right?
That's correct, yeah. So it happened in Whitewood, Saskatchewan. And since then, I was there for a few months, but I certainly wasn't in a very good frame of mind. I needed to get out of there. Plus, the employment there was none. The town actually it grew to about 1,100 people after I had that open. It was a good reason to live there. There was a lot going on. Their kids could go to sports without being, if they couldn't afford it, these sort of things. But since I left, it's dropped. That, within months, that population dropped over 30%, and I believe it's still declining. There's no reason. They call it deadwood now, unfortunately.
Oh, that's
and
so
it's not
sad.
it brought a lot of business into that town, whether they realize it or not, that people coming in for gas, for food, they got to get back to wherever they're going. And you got to understand that some of these members, they would drive from Winnipeg. They'd drive 4 hours just to come for the service.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very important to have storefronts, and I think it's very important to have them locally run as well by someone that's local, that someone cares about that community.
Yeah, well, you carried more than just products. I mean, you supplied education, friendship, a lounge, a place for people to come together, and discuss the issues of the day as well.
That's it. I think one of the biggest things I hear from people is it gave them hope.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, so many patients are isolated. I know many that would gladly take a 4-hour drive to go to a location like that where they could feel at ease and medicate and come out of there feeling refreshed.
No, that's it, absolutely. And if I didn't know something, I'd make sure I went out and found the correct answers to them instead of just giving them some hogwash to get them to buy some cannabis. It was never about that for me. From day one, I got into this for the CBD, for the children, and the epilepsy. That's how I got into this business. And I wanted to provide, not just reasonable access to cannabis, but the proper information as best I could, because they're dealing with health issues, and I take that very, very seriously.
Oh, for sure. And there's so little education out there and so much skewed information out there these days. We know that firsthand from our news article at the top of the show. We've got people in authoritative positions still spouting, just propaganda and rhetoric.
And I got to say something about that.
It's so good. Yeah, go ahead.
When I was a child, I remember them coming in and giving us a speech, and they're still showing the same videos, by the way, with the spider and all those things dropped in acid. If I was to drop that much acid on your head, you'd be pretty messed up too. And the spider with the cannabis. If I was to, put you in a room with that much smoke, sure, you're going to be messed up. But maybe if you just give them the right amount in a sativa, maybe you just have a little bit of creativity and web that web a little better. But the point of that is the lies they told really affected me for many, many, many years. I thought there was something wrong with me because I'd done cannabis, and that affected me greatly in my mind. And I'll never forgive them for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot of that, and it's people like you that are working to change that. Thank God, and I mean, the fact that you got raided and shut down like that is it's appalling to me. But do you feel that the tide? Do you feel that this was over a year and a half ago? Do you feel that from then till now? Do you feel that the tides are changing at all?
Oh, certainly they are. There's over 20 dispensaries in Regina now, which is just the next major city over. I certainly opened things up there, and I gave people the courage to open up those stores. So now it's going very mainstream over there. So things are changing because I opened up the dialogues there. Things have changed drastically, and they are also going to allow dispensaries that are existing to apply to be legal dispensaries.
Yeah.
So I still don't understand why they're not dropping the charges.
Yeah, because it's all the same province, right? And that's provincial.
Well, that's it. That's an hour and a half away, right? And then they dropped the Saskatoon charges. Well, they didn't drop them; they did, but the business took the charge, right? So nobody actually got charged, and it's a very reasonable fine. For me, the $600,000 fine is not reasonable.
Wow.
And they want to fine me for the amount I gave away in buildings and things like that because they didn't get it. So they want to find me that additional 130-something thousand as well that they have on record.
So you're looking at like $750,000 in fines?
You're right. He didn't mention he's seen 600,000 go through my bank account, so they would be looking at some, if not all of that, plus my, my 2 BMWs. They get, my house, my shop. They may go after my resort as well. And these are things that I worked for, and I had a lot of these things before I had this business. Like my house, I bought that for $1 from my mom, but they're calling it clear proceeds of crime, and that was from 11 years ago. So it's not like they're doing any work in this case. They're just accusing me without evidence, and I think that's very sad.
Going for the big.
I mean, the evidence that I have seen is people holding checks. People are holding checks from me giving them donations, helping them. That is money laundering. This is their evidence. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to stop me from using any of that evidence in my favor and limiting my witnesses and things like that. Every angle they can get to make sure that I don't win. So they're obviously very scared if they're trying to limit all those things.
Yeah.
Well, Paul is on all of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know what? Paul gives me absolutely great faith. Faith I haven't had up until I retained him last month. So it's really made a difference in my attitude towards this case as well, which is definitely changing a lot of attitudes out there as well in return. So, I can't thank him enough for taking this case.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure that they're all taking a second look at their stance and what they're going forth with, the evidence they're going forth with now that they've got a legitimate lawyer and a good lawyer such as Paul Lewin on the case now as the side lawyer.
Absolutely. So, and I'm not sure how the time frame's going to work out for them or us on that either, because it's been over a year and a half now. So I think they may be rushing things a bit through now. And to me, it really makes no difference. I know what I did was the right thing to do, and I think I did a pretty damn good job about it. I wasn't, and I tell everybody this as well. I didn't run things perfect from the beginning, but I did the best I could. And
what business is perfect? What business is perfect at the onset? Everybody trips and falls and makes mistakes and learns.
This is what I want to explain to people, is when there's no rules, how do you follow them? So I would fly out to places like Camp CD, and I paid the expensive fees, and I would get guidelines. And the more I got into this, the more I learned, and the more I pushed for regulation and properly run dispensaries. I think it's really important that we do have some sort of regulation, but I don't think it all has to be government run. I think, growers should be able to grow whatever they want to grow at home as a personal medicine, just like you could do with tomato or anything else. And if you choose to sell that product, then it needs to be brought in for testing. And it doesn't have to be a very expensive test either. And this way we can take people out of poverty. And they can take that product and they can take that cannabis and they can make it into a zillion different products. So I just, I really want to see poverty end. I was homeless a long time in this country. And I've shown what I can do from homelessness to very successful and very giving at the same time. There's no reason you can't be successful in this business and be very charitable as well.
That's right. Absolutely. And we've said that before. We've had other, growers and medicinal people on that are in the same position as you, where they help people, and they've said the same thing. There's no reason that cannabis has to cost what it costs people on a regular basis. Prices need to come down to a more compassionate level, so there's access for all.
There's no victim in what you're doing. You're just doing something that, basically the law is because somebody doesn't like, cannabis. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And, they talk about, they've shut down this raid or done this raid, shut down this business and that business. But what about the patients?
Yeah. Where do the patients go now? I mean, you helped so many. You were a lifeline for them. You were the filler that got us through this silly system that we're in. What happens to all of them now?
So it was hard. Unfortunately, some passed away. Very sad.
Yeah, well, no access to the RSO anymore, right?
Yeah. A lot of them moved on to different dispensaries because there is a whole bunch in Regina. But, it's an hour and a half drive for them. For some of them, it's more convenient because a lot of them did come from Regina. But for others, it's very inconvenient, especially, a lot of the surrounding reserves and a lot of people that can't drive, or a lot of seniors, or a lot of the people that just felt more comfortable coming to somewhere where they knew somebody. So,
yeah, for sure. Well, it's a total loss for the community, and I hope the cannabis community and the listenership in general looks into doing what they can to donate to this fundraiser, so you can keep going with Paul Lewin and fight the good fight for us all. I mean, because in the end, it is for us all.
Absolutely, I think it's very important that it was for us all, that I didn't just do this for me. And I did that from day one. I thought this was, I never did anything with my life, I'll be honest. I was a bit of a mess. I've been sober 11 years now, but I didn't even do anything illegal whatsoever for the first 7 years. I've got a half a dozen DVDs out, a few other things that I got on the go that kept me alive. But when I heard about the kids with the CBD, I knew I tried that night. I knew I was going to do something good with my life, and I just wanted to give back to my community and to the rest of the world in a good way.
For sure. So now Martin Medicinals is closed down in Saskatchewan. You've relocated into BC now. You're going on with the Constitutional Challenge with Paul Lewin. What are you do? What is up with Martin Medicinals right now? Where does that stand?
Yeah, so Martin Medical Services it's just in limbo right now. The website's still up there, marijuanamailorders.com. If you just go /about-us, you can take a look at a lot of the donations and check out what we did there and a whole bunch about me. But for now, they left me in a really bad spot. They took it all. I mean, they even took my change. So I put my 3 dogs in a truck. Somebody came and picked me up because I had no vehicle, and drove me out to the island where I had a job for a bit there with a cannabis company, with a 6-month contract. Fortunately, that ended after 6 months. So I'm looking for a new job, basically, at this point. I mean, I still have my tattoo DVDs, and I have my resort, which is now open. So now that that's over, I'm going to start pushing that, and hopefully that'll start bringing in some income.
Excellent. And I'm going to talk so much more about your resort, but I want to save that for after the break. Do you have some questions for Jerry, Al?
Do I have some questions? I'm just sitting back here listening to you guys.
Yeah, we can go on with the rest of it. We can go on with the rest of that list. We're at number
I got that right in front of me. Exactly.
Yeah, let's do that.
Now, I also hear you mentioned here that the system fails. This is part of your core challenge. Is that it fails medicinal cannabis patients by only permitting inadequate and expensive cannabis extracts.
Oh, okay. We're skipped down to number 5 there. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Their extracts, they either don't have them or they're fairly new to the game and they're inadequate. Especially places like HandyMed where they're already using garbage, and radiating that garbage and then just making it into an oil. it's really discouraging to see that in the system. And a lot of things like shatter and rust and things like that. Shatter needs to be made properly. There's a lot of good extractors out there in the private market, like Beard Pros, Tops, and I mean they put a lot of pride into their work, and they should be recognized and allowed into this industry. Those are the guys that showed these guys that this stuff can be done, all right? And I believe they should be allowed in this industry as well.
Well, it's the Smith verdict that gave us the right to extracts. So that can't be disputed. But yet at the same time, for the LPs, the extracts that they provide currently are nowhere near strong enough to help anybody with pretty much any kind of an ailment. But that is because of the stringent caps put on by Health Canada as to how high the concentration can be. So with the Smith verdict allowing extracts, we've got Health Canada countering with limits. Do you think that falls outside the guidelines or the feel of the justice's verdict in Smith?
Well, absolutely. First off, Health Canada has no right to interfere with a doctor's decision, period.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. But they're doing it. Not only that, they're involving the police, they're arresting people, they're ruining families' lives. And the repercussions of an arrest are phenomenal, because it just costs me a lot of money and a lot of pain. It's caused a lot of people a lot of suffering, a lot of starvation, a lot of worry. What they do is totally ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And as far as hash is an extract.
That's right.
Yeah, I got some hash right here, actually. And then
you don't have to worry about an explosion.
Yeah,
it's not done with an organic solvent.
Right.
Yeah. Neil Hanneman sent me some hash, actually, from Ontario. There, good guy.
There you go. Shout out to Neil Hanneman.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah, but that's it. They don't have the extras, and they're very limited on their strains. Look at Canopy Growth. They're going around, they're buying everybody up to control the market, but they've only got maybe, I haven't even looked in quite a while, but they had like 4 or 5 strains on their website, and that's it. There's hundreds, if not thousands, definitely thousands of strains out there. And limiting these strains and these sort of things is going to limit medicine, because people can be creating new medicines and new things like that if they have the freedom to do so.
Yeah, I love number 3 on this list, and it's something I personally never would have thought of.
Well,
and it's so true. The mail order system fails those medical cannabis patients without a computer access and or computer literacy. That is so true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not everybody can afford a computer. They can barely afford their medicine as well. And I hear so many, from so many people, I don't know how to use this device. The device keeps changing, especially when it's seniors. They can't keep up with this sort of thing.
Not everybody can afford access to even get an internet plan.
Yeah, that's right.
It. Well, it becomes an additional stress to them, or a burden to one of their family members to have to help them with that, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Mail order system number 7 fails medical cannabis patients because of default, costly, and time-consuming process of switching LPs. I know that to be true for sure. It's a pain in the ass to switch LPs if you don't have the ongoing constant communication with your doctor. It's great if it's your family doctor that did your papers, because you can just go back to them and say, okay, I want to change, cancel that one and send it to a new one. Most times your family doctor be okay with it. But if you used any other avenue, whether it be a pain clinic or any other avenue for your prescription, then that option is not available, and you cannot get the papers back from an LP.
That's correct. Or there's huge fees involved for that. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of these doctors, especially it's very different in places. Ontario has places like Body Stream and stuff like that, and I'm not sure if they're still around, but places that'll help you. But in Whitewood, Saskatchewan, period, there's nobody to help you there. In fact, just doctors are discouraged. Every doctor that started prescribing there was asked to leave, or they lost their license. They were sent letters to stop prescribing. There's Health Canada involving, in doctors' decisions again. So it becomes very, very difficult for people to get any sort of license in the first place. And then when the doctor does it, he's very discouraged about doing it in the first place. So when you got to go back to him and keep, harassing him to change something, it's going to discourage them further. And we're trying to change that there. We're trying to, get a more positive light on cannabis out there. But then Health Canada and the government just keeps discouraging doctors and putting out articles out there that just aren't true to discourage them further.
We've seen that.
There was just one recently that went out that was people were really questioning. It came out of Calgary.
But then you've got a few other doctors that are standing up, thank God, that are at least, a little bit educated, and they're taking a good stand and trying to educate more doctors. But we definitely need more of the latter, that's for sure. Number 8.
And again, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead there. I was just going to say, and again, in places like Saskatchewan, those brave doctors like Dr. Abraham, Dr. Paskewicz, a few of these doctors, I just want to give them credit because they stood up and they got run out of town for doing that, right? So I just want to commend them for that.
Yeah, it takes the few pioneers to get the ball rolling sometimes, unfortunately, those pioneers wind up being the ones that pay the price, such as yourself, oddly enough right now. Number 8 on the list, the last thing is so poignant. Mail order system fails medical cannabis patients because they are denied the more practical and therapeutic in-person storefront model. Well, that kind of says it all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. People want to come in, the flavonoids and the terpenes and all these things are a very important part of picking out your medicine. People want to smell it. It's a very therapeutic smell. And a lot of people purchase their cannabis based on that smell. And when they're in there, they want to get some education on that. And that's another thing that they put into these new laws that's very sad, is people are not going to be allowed to talk about the products that they're selling except for at the point of purchase. And they're only going to be allowed to talk about the size, weight, and color in the name of the product. That's it. They're not allowed to talk about any medical benefits of that product. So how are you really supposed to help anybody if you're doing it against the law now?
Because I remember over the years, I was involved with some of the compassion centers out of Toronto. You could go in, you could experience the whole thing. You get information, education, you learn some knowledge. And,
that was the base. Yeah. That's the base model that we wanted to build.
And it's an experience as well. And people want that experience. It's like going to the iPhone store. It's an experience for people. They line up for that just like they line up for a dispensary, right? It's something they enjoy doing. And why should, they should be able to go do it wherever they want from a locally run store. But, the average Canadian should not be, the stringent rules that they're putting in place.
Okay, it's commercial break. Time to pay the bills.
Time to go to break.
Second break. And our listeners are going to hear some more of Justice by Lay Mosquitoes. And when we return, Tim and I will continue our discussion with Jerry Martin. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.net.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as a daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarawana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint hosts Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
Every soul is equal. Overcome the system and rise above the evil. The poor keep getting stronger and the rich can't feed their hunger.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
This is Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Catch me every Monday at 4:20 on The Reefer Reporters, aired on lifestyleradio.net. Available for replay or download on Lifestyle Radio or Spreaker.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Welcome back. Hey, thanks for tuning in the program. If you miss our live shows, don't forget you can always catch the podcast at Spreaker, YouTube, Mixcloud, and if you're located in the USA, you can catch it on good old iHeartRadio. Tonight's bumper music features Les Mosquitoes, and these guys performed at cannabis events, including the 420 celebrations in Ottawa. If you enjoyed tonight's music, then I suggest that you look for them online. Today in the program, we are joined by our guest, Jerry Martin, of Martin Medicinal Services, plus my joint host, Kim Cooper of Northern Ontario Cannabis Educational Resources. Sorry about that, Kim.
Okay.
It's okay. Okay, Kim, I think we're just going to wrap up the court case stuff here and move on to the next subject.
Yeah, we are. So you've got a court challenge. The first date is coming up in under a week, Jerry? But Paul Lewin will be flying out to Battleford, we think. Is that right?
Yeah, so I don't he'll be flying out for this. I do have local agent, one of the local lawyers. I've known him for 11 years. So he usually shows up on my behalf. Unfortunately, I don't know yet whether I need to be there, and it's only 6 days left. So Paul's going to get back to me tomorrow on that, so I may have to fly out there. I'm unsure if it's still in Broadview, but it sounds like it's going to be in Battleford, just because I know Broadview only has court every 2 weeks, and then that would have been today. So I got a funny feeling it's already moved up into High Court, and we'll be submitting those 8 points as our constitutional challenge on that date, as far as I know.
Excellent, excellent. So people that are interested in coming out and supporting you, maybe perhaps should just keep an eye on your Facebook page for some updates?
That's what I would do, yeah. The King of Compassion versus Health Canada, you can find us on.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll all be watching for updates on that and watching closely as to how this case progresses. As we've said throughout the show, this does affect us all, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And moving on to other things that we said at the start of the show, you're out there, you're in all kinds of stuff. You got your hands on a place, and you've got yourself sponsored a little retreat started out in the Amazon rainforest. This place is called King of Compassion Resorts. You can find out about it on their Facebook or on their website, kingofcompassionresorts.com. Now I'm going to mess this up. I know I am.
Oh, I know you will too.
Ayahuasca Retreat and Combo Cleanse.
Yeah, you messed that up a little bit. That's okay.
Okay.
That took me a while too. Yeah, so it's ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, it's called the teaching plant. And they've been using it for thousands and thousands of years down there. It's one of the world's strongest hallucinogenics, DMT. And it can last up to 4 hours. Depending on how much you have and these sort of things. There's a whole bunch of variables in there. But yeah, it's a very powerful hallucinogenic, but it helps a lot of people with depression, with addictions, and so many different things. It's just a beautiful, beautiful medicine. And then we do the Campbell Cleanse as well.
I see on the website I'm reading, there's the ayahuasca experience, and it's called Face Your Fears.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is not something that you're going to do lightly. First off, you're going to the jungle. There's malaria. There's a zillion different things. We fenced in 4 hectares of jungle on our little retreat there. So it's a little safer for you, but there are jaguars, there's spiders, there's anacondas, there's crocodiles, caimans, even the pink dolphins that are swimming in the Amazon River, which we are right overlooking. We're right on the Amazon River, about a half hour from the Quitos by boat. So there's a lot of things in the jungle you need to be careful of. But just the medicine itself is not to be taken lightly. You need to go on a diet for a couple of weeks. No red meat, things like that. You need to stop all kinds of different drugs. I stop cannabis for 2 weeks even. It's just part of the ritual, and you need to respect that as well. Plus, it's just a lot safer for you to follow the rules. But yeah, it can make you violently sick. It's called purging. So you're going to purge during this. So you're going to drink the ayahuasca, which has tobacco juice into it. And it helps you purge. So you're throwing up violently before it takes effect. So it's something you want to look into and research greatly before you take the trip. It's it's a spiritual experience. It's not like taking some acid on a Friday night. You need to respect.
It doesn't sound like any acid I've ever done, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've done acid. A couple of decades for sure.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It can really help you find yourself. And that's what the medicine is all about. It's called a teaching plan. You go in, you ask questions when you're in there. And it's just, it does many, many wonderful things for you. Even the jaguars, themselves use DMT to hunt at night to increase their vision. things like that. And it helps you, perceive the future in many different ways because it's clearing up the past so that you can see more clearly. And then we do the Campbell cleanse. The Campbell is frog poison. Which we apply. By the way, we teach you, we take you out and you can catch the frogs with us at night. We teach you all about the medicine, how to make the medicine, how to apply the medicine, and then you get a chance to experience that as well. And it's very good for cleaning out your system, excellent for stamina, very good for the nervous system, quite a few other things. And then we're going to be doing Nunu, which is called Rapé as well by the Nunu tribe. And that's just a tobacco snuff, which is blowing up your nose. That helps they say helps to open the third eye as well.
Wow. I mean, what an experience this would be. The website is very psychedelic. If you click on the learn more part of the frog poison one, cleanse one. I love the psychedelics in the picture.
Yeah, there's actually a video of me. If you just punch in, or you go to Google and just punch in Cambo documentary, it should be #1 in YouTube and Google anyways, but you can find that video on that page there. You can see me do Cambo in the jungle there. It's more of a public setting jungle. It was actually in the city of Quito. When I was down there the first time, I tried it before I did. I tried all these things before I started my own retreat, so you can see me try it there. It's quite embarrassing, I find, but you can see me go up there as well.
So it's a resort. You're in the middle of the jungle. You're half an hour up the creek without a paddle. What kind of accommodations can someone look forward to?
Yeah, so I have all kinds of rooms there. So we have 3 right now. We're building more, and we have a kitchen, all that sort of stuff. So there's 2 private rooms, and I put all new queen-size beds in them last year. That was fun taking those in the boat up the Amazon River at night. Yeah, they never. Anyways, I put all new beds in there, all new electrical. It's all plumbing in there with septic tanks. And they all have toilet seats. I made that a mandatory thing. A lot of these third world countries, they just don't have them. So ladies, you don't got to worry about that.
I'm glad about
very
that.
Clean. I'm sorry?
I said I'm glad about that. That's good.
The toilet seats. She's happy to hear that.
Yeah, so it's really beautiful. Done clean sheets every day, that sort of stuff. And then, we have our dining area, and we have a full stereo system out there as well. When I got there, they had one of those old little silver realistic radios, the antenna, super skinny. It was just like out of the 50s, right? So I went and bought a $1,500 stereo that lights up, and you can hear it up and down the Amazon River. So there's all those sort of things there too. If you decide not to come for the ayahuasca retreat, we can have those sort of nights too. Generally, when you're doing the ayahuasca retreat, we try and keep it fairly quiet and peaceful for other guests that are there. But you don't have to have other guests. You can rent the entire retreat for a bunch of group of your friends for a discount. So if it's a really, really cool experience. We've got professional shamans that have been doing this for 20, 30 years. And Willie, my business partner, is actually currently on its way to the National Reserve in Peru to meet with the Métis Jaguar tribe so that we can set up future excursions into the actual reserve to meet the Métis Jaguar tribe and do ayahuasca with them, do the Cambo ceremonies with them, hunt with them using blow darts and things like that for food and things like that. We're going to find out what other medicines they're using right now too. So that's going to be another package that we're going to be offering soon.
Excellent. I mean, it sounds so exciting. I'm looking at the website right now, and I see one thing that really caught my eye. The jungle massage looks very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing I wanted to make sure that they had down there was massages. In the floral bath is a very healing thing, and it's very relaxing, and it's just awesome to have done, especially when we have a couple of waterfalls with little swimming areas on the resort as well. So we like to do the floral baths in there with the running water. Yeah, I call it Love Falls.
Right on.
Now, you mentioned food. What I see here, there is breakfast and lunch involved in your package thing here. But what kind of food are people looking at when they go here?
Right, so you're going to be on a dieta, right? So it's going to be very strict. It's very blah. And it's all going to be from nature. So
no potato chips.
No potato chips, no sugar, no alcohol, no other drugs. The only drugs that you're allowed to be on there that are prescribed is going to be malaria medication and birth control. Other than that, you need to get, if you're on any type of medications for depression, all these sort of things need to be stopped. So really, people need to understand it's a very, very serious thing they're going to do. So they really need to consult with a doctor and get off that medication properly before they attend.
Okay. All right. Good to know for anybody that is on and any other medication. Now, what about things like diabetes and stuff like that, insulins?
Yeah, no, insulin's fine as well. That's one thing that would be allowed as well. Yeah. But again, when you're down there, we're not going to have any sugared fruits or things like that. So we really encourage you with things like that to give us before, and we'll go over all that together, and we'll find out the proper information for you. And if you happen to speak another language, I believe we have a translator who can do up to 5 languages too. So we have Spanish, English, Russian, French, and one other one, I believe.
Excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Spanish,
that's
obviously.
fantastic.
Sorry, Spanish.
So is this like a week-long thing that you go through, or?
Yeah, so the package is 1 week. You can stay 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however long you want. But the package that we offer is designed for 1 week. And it's a combination package. So you're going to be doing the Campbell and the ayahuasca. A lot of them just offer ayahuasca, or they just offer Campbell. We just happen to have them both integrated, and we find they work very well together as well. Campbell's very good for cleaning out your system, getting yourself ready spiritually and physically for the ayahuasca experience. So,
what's Nunu?
So Nunu is otherwise called rapé, and that's just a tobacco snuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're right. Yeah, so you've probably seen it on documentaries and stuff where they're blowing that snuff up their nose.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So it's not really, it's not very hallucinogenic, but it just helps clear out your mind and things like that.
Cool. Very cool. Transportation services to and from the airport are included. Jungle excursions are included. Piranha fishing.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
So you go piranha feeding and fishing. And there's all kinds of cool fish down there. There's the 15 Amazon river monsters too, right? So there's pink dolphins, and we can go over to Monkey Island. All kinds of really cool things down there to do in the nature. I mean, it's the Amazon. It's amazing, the creatures down there. It's so very cool. And especially when you're doing these ceremonies at night, or even if you're just in your room at night and you just hear the jungle around you, it's just the most beautiful, peaceful thing you'll ever experience.
And I imagine the stars in the sky would just be magnificent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always 30 degrees. So don't pay attention much to the weather channel that says it's going to rain. It's the rainforest.
What, it's not sunny there all the time?
But yeah, generally, I mean, the rainy season does rain a lot more. But you got to understand, when it's a rainy season, you can access so much more of that jungle. The river will rise 40 meters, so it opens up the gateways to a lot of places you can't go. Otherwise, especially with fishing. There's 1,000 different fishing. Paiche fish is one of the favorite fish that people catch down there, but they're bigger than humans. But it's just massive.
I'm interested in the piranha fishing. Like, how do you get one of those guys? How do you get one of those guys off the hook?
Very carefully. Yeah, actually, you want to be really careful down there. Even my business partner that grew up in the jungle, he was just out catching Campbell frogs the other night. You got to do it at night, and a snake. I can't remember what kind he told me. Anyway, snake took off the end of his finger, like literally took off the end of his finger. Yeah. So you got to be very, very careful. Stick with the guides. Stick in the fenced areas that we built for you, and the walkways. Otherwise, it's a very safe place as long as you're just stay in the complex. You don't want to wander into the jungle. It's very, very dangerous. A lot of the locals around there that we have watching things. It's sad, but they'll end up having to kill a jaguar. Which is an endangered species because they're coming in. Willie's grandmother actually got killed by a jaguar. So these are very serious things out in that jungle. And it's not just the big scary things. There's little spiders and snakes and, a zillion different things that can kill you out there. So
that's what would scare me. I mean, that's the only thing that stops me. I am deathly allergic to a lot of bugs just right here in Northern Ontario. I have to carry an EpiPen in the summertime. I would be petrified to go to this place.
I got to say, I did bring an EpiPen with me when I first went to the first ayahuasca retreat that I had tried. I did have to hand that in, but they did keep it on in case I needed it. You'll find... we're very close to the town as well. So, in a rush, we can get you to the hospital in 20 minutes or so. A lot of the resorts are very far away from town. So we're a good, happy medium. If we are going to go on to the trips into the jungle to meet the Métis Jaguar tribes, there's going to be a doctor on that trip with us just to be sure. So.
Right on. So medical needs aren't a concern. Well, they are a concern, but they'll be addressed anyway. That's
right. I mean, a lot of people are going to hear about ayahuasca deaths and things like that. And I've interviewed a lot of shamans down there. And here's what I find is it really doesn't have much to do with the ayahuasca. It's got to do with the tobacco. I'm finding a lot of these people have allergies to tobacco, and there's a heavy amount of tobacco juice in these drinks, and a lot of them also use other drugs. Like Tohi is one they call down there, and it can lead you into a zombie state. I could see people standing on the corners just zombied right out. So be careful which resorts you go to as well, which retreats you go to. There's a lot of good ones out there. Just make sure you read some reviews on them. It is a shamanic medicine. There's some evil people out there in the world, and there's some black magic down there too. So you want to be cautious what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Interesting vacation, though, for sure.
Yeah,
for somebody that's adventurous and is into that kind of thing and is looking for something that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. This is definitely a trip for them.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we've got our own taxis. We'll pick you up at the airport. Make sure you get there safely. We recommend you come a day before. Just so you have the time in case something happens to get to the airport and things like that. If you're gonna, the Hotel Victoria is where I stay every time. Really great people in there, very safe environment, really nice place as well.
Excellent. Good to know. So
all right, you
contact the ayahuasca resort through kingofcompassionresorts.com.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. We're down to the final few minutes here.
Yeah, we are.
This is shout out time. We can give you an opportunity to throw a shout out to somebody, let everybody know where they can find you, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so there's a few others. Salt Spring Compassion, Kind Selections, MBMP, Troy Francis there, a really good friend of mine. He donates some money in the case, like throw him a shout out. Cannabis in Canada is going to be coming to host the event. Definitely Karuna that is hosting the event. They have one of the licensed dispensaries in Vancouver here. I want to thank them for giving me the place for free to do the fundraiser. I'm going to miss some for sure. I know there's Dr. Coffee for sure. They have some really nice cannabis out there. Yeah, just everybody that supports the industry, basically. I mean, everybody deserves a hand for this. Anybody that's gone out and supported a dispensary or even supported just a guy selling cannabis on the street, freedom for us all, right?
Yeah.
You know,
you've got a Facebook page for this, right?
Yeah, so the King of Compassion versus Health Canada, and that's where you can check out the Charter Challenge there.
Okay, there you go. All right, Kim?
Yeah, this week I'd like to give my shout out to the 12 High Chicks and the 12 High Chicks Mom Cup. The Mom Cup is taking place this coming weekend. It starts on Friday at 4:20, and it's going all the way through till just after midnight. Friday is adult entertainment night. Saturday is activists and panelists and comedy. On Sunday, it's the comedy again and the Cup Awards. Doors open at 4:20, appetizers at 6. Dinner every day is included for all attendees at 7:30. So go on out and visit May Moon and the rest of the girls at the 12 High Checks out in BC for the Mom Cup this weekend.
Sounds like a super
it's gonna be awesome.
Sure.
I'm gonna be there myself. Actually, she actually asked me to be in the new Kiki Cannabis book, so I'll be modeling in that as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, it should be a cool experience.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Okay, all right. I will be back next week with my joint host, Alicia Yashishin, and a special guest. You can find Pace on Twitter at Pace Radio. You can like us on Facebook with the Pace Radio Show. We're on Instagram as Pace Radio Show. Plus, we can be found on the web at pace-online.ca. Thank you. Go out to our sponsors, the friendly and helpful folks at CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. And they can back that up with their 200-page catalog, which I recently posted a picture of. And they can be found at ccnexus.global. Thank you to our producer, Al Rapp, here at Lifestyle Radio. Also, a big thank you to you, Jerry, for coming out of the program and talking to our listeners tonight. We really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you having me out there and help me spread the word for dispensaries.
Well, that's what one of our mottos here is, to give cannabis advocates and patients a location to give them a voice to speak out, and we really appreciate you coming on and doing that. So,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and a big thank you to you, Kim, for everything you do. We always appreciate that.
My pleasure, Al.
Yeah. And a big thank you to you. That's our listeners. Thank you for tuning into the program, and good night. See you
Good night.
Night.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.